So we are live.
Okay. Now we are.
So we are live.
Okay. Nee, I was waiting for others to join. But take it. So good morning. Good morning, everyone. Um, क्या हाल है? My name is Kaivalya. For those of you who have seen my PMP videos, you already know. And for those who have not, welcome to the session. I take economics in Level Up IAS, and I will be taking the foundation batch as well. I have taught in PMP. So, what is the purpose of this webinar? The purpose of this webinar is to so this webinar is basically intended for two type of students or two categories of students. One who are going to give prelims and mains this year in 2021, and second is for the next year, who will be joining the foundation batch or those who are thinking whether to join or not to join. Okay. For those, very important, very important session is for this is a very important session for those who are going to give the exam this year and those who have time now because of the postponement of the exam. So this session will address all your queries related to how to utilize the time or how to effectively study economics, how to prepare for mains, and okay. So you can ask all your queries. I will take you through the step-by-step approach, which I want you or I suggest you to follow for mains. See, now today's date is 3rd June. Your exam, your prelims exam is on 10th October. So the first part of the session, I'll keep it restricted to those who are giving it this year because that is more pressing now. And second part, we'll speak a little bit about the foundation batch. Okay. Hello, good morning, good morning. You can be very active in the comment section. Please be very active in the comment section. Whatever you have learned, chatting जो हम करते हैं in college and all, late night chatting, early morning chatting, जो भी है, please put it to good use here and use the comment box and ask me doubts and respond to me very well. I will not be the only one who is speaking here. I want you to respond. I want you to be very active and to be uh, not कि ऐसे ही हाँ सर कुछ भी बोल रहे जाने दो. See, if you find it helpful, then please participate. ठीक है? Sir, will this be helpful for students appearing for Indian Economic Services as well? The approach would be same. Akansha is asking ki for economic service, I would say the approach would be the same, but the content obviously needs to be much deeper for economic service exams compared to our GS, which is in civil service exam. Okay? So the approach would be similar because both exams are conducted by UPS. Right? So primarily for those who are giving it this year, we are starting now. Good morning, everyone. There are two parts. One is how much to study for prelims and how much to study for mains. For those of you who have seen my lectures or rather those who have done a proper course or proper study, even if self study is done, a proper study, proper revision, अगर किया है आपने, if you have done it, so you are very well versed with economics for prelims now, maybe not for mains, but for prelims. So you know your preparation better. And for those of you who have seen my lectures, you know that we have completed within, I think, 15, 18, 20 lectures, we have completed the crux of prelims economics. Okay, but mains is a different ball game altogether. Mains is not that easy. Ki 15, 20 days, maybe we can meet and we can discuss and aa jayega. Because in mains, you need a lot of writing practice. In mains, you need a lot of understanding. The prelims mein answer is in front of you. You know this cannot be the answer. You eliminate that option and you get to the answer, which is fairly simple. Mains mein the thing is ki you have to paint a picture. You have to tell the examiner ki dekho, I know it and I know the requirements of the exam. Good morning, sir. How should we prepare notes for mains? Yes, I'm coming to notes part also for mains. So uske pehle first I would like everyone to respond in the comment section whether you have read UPSC notification or not. Whether you have read UPSC notification or not. जो official आता है UPSC का PDF. Have you gone through it? Which has all the eligibility criteria, syllabus, and सबका उसमें एक ही इसमें रहता है. Have you gone through the notification? Yes or no? Let me know. ठीक है. So what I'll do is I'll just share the notification now, and just read this. Just read this requirement. Very important requirement. Right? This is very important. I'll come to the sources also. Don't worry, I've come to the sources also. And it is okay if you don't have prelims notes. That is fine. That is not a problem. In mains, you need concepts more. See this. This is the notification. So what it says exactly is that the main examination is intended to assess the overall intellectual traits and depth of understanding. So just imagine it from writing answer point of view, overall intellectual traits and depth of understanding rather than merely a range of information. Okay, rather than merely range of information or memory. So does it mean that memory is not required? It does not mean that. Memory is definitely required, but it does not mean that you have to mug up all the facts or rely solely on memory. That is not the purpose here. The purpose is intellectual traits and depth of understanding is more important than memory. Okay, done. Second, well-educated person. Well-educated person means a person who knows the basic concepts, a person who is reading the newspaper or who has read the newspapers, who understand what is being mentioned in the newspapers without any specialized study. So here I would say that for general studies, the subject is general studies, so they are specifically mentioning you don't need to be a specialist. You don't need to know complicated graphs, complicated theories, complicated economics terminologies for writing the answers. And if you write them, maybe it might not give a good impression on the exam. General awareness, okay, that is all fine. Now the most important line is this, or the most important set of lines are this. The questions are likely to test the candidate's basic understanding of all relevant issues and ability to analyze and take a view on conflicting socioeconomic goals, objectives, and demands. The candidates must give relevant, meaningful, and succinct answers. These three words are the crux of answer writing for any subject, not only for economics, for any subject. These three words, relevant, meaningful, and succinct. Very important. It should be relevant. I am stressing it enough. Your answer should be relevant. Okay? Your answer should be meaningful. Means what you are writing is correct. That is meaningful. It has meaning. What you are writing is not wrong, or what you are writing is not without any basis. Okay? So it might be correct, but it might not be relevant for the question. Right? Whatever you have written is perfect. Whatever you have written is very correct. But if it is not relevant, if that is not what is asked, if you have written something entirely different or slightly different than what is asked, then you will not get marks. Even though your answer is perfect, whatever you have written in itself is very good and succinct. You don't need to worry about succinct because UPSC automatically takes care of succinct by imposing word limit on it. Okay? So succinct answers means you have to write within the word limit, and you have to write in fact little bit lesser than the word limit for you to complete the paper. Those 20 questions you have to attempt, and if you keep on writing, it is very difficult to give proper time to each question. Okay? So this is the main requirement of the exam. Now Second, I want you to do is for those of you who are starting mains preparations or who have just started mains preparation. Uh, for those, I'm telling you this general studies 3.1. See, UPSC is not giving points here, point 1, point 2, but you should give point 1, point 2 as I just name it, number it 1, 2, 3, 4. Point 1 to point 10. Point 1 to point 10 till investment models. Point 1 to point 10. That is very, 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 very important uh, to for you to buy hard them. It is very important. Unless you buy hard this, you will not know from where a question is being asked. You will not know from where how they are asking a question. See, questions are not random. I'm telling you, questions are not random. They are from the syllabus. 99% of the questions in these 10 points are from the syllabus. I'm not talking about any other subject. I'm talking about economics and agriculture. Point 1 to point 10, they are very, 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 very important. Please mug it up. Please do it today itself if you have not done it already, right? And every word, every comma, every full stop is very important. Indian economy and issues relating to, there are 5 things which are mentioned. So this is not how Indian economies and issues. Don't mug it up like that. Indian economies and issues relating to 5 things. 5 things. Planning, 1. Mobilization of resources, 2. Growth, 3. Development, 4. And employment, 5. These are the 5 things. These are 5 different things. These are 5 different issues which are being asked in the exam. And uh, these are 5 very important aspects of our syllabus. Okay, so please buy hard this. Second, inclusive growth and issues arising from it. See, the key word here is this: issues, issues. Okay, issues are very important. Government budgeting, full stop. Government budgeting, there's no load in that. Inclusive growth issues arising from it, government budgeting. Now, after point 3, agriculture starts. So, economics is point number 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10. This is core economics, you can say, or general economics, not core economics, but general economics. Point number 1, 2, 3 is general economics. Then, after 3, we directly jump to point 8. Effect of liberalization on Indian economy, changes in industrial policy, and their effects on industrial growth. Okay, effects of liberalization on Indian economy, changes in industrial policy, and their effects on industrial growth. Now, I will tell you how to analyze the syllabus. See, for UPSC, Indian economy, what are the major issues with respect to Indian economy? What does UPSC mean when we say Indian economy? They have written it here that you have to analyze the issues from a planning angle, from mobilization angle, from growth angle, development angle, and employment angle. Right? Now, immediately go to point 8 and read effects of liberalization on the economy. Effect of liberalization on the economy means what aspects of the economy? Okay, what aspects of economy they are talking about? So, effects of liberalization on planning, effects of liberalization on resources or mobilization of resources, effects of liberalization on growth, how has economy fared after liberalization, how has employment or unemployment scenario fared after liberalization, what is the effect of liberalization on development of our country, that you have to prepare. So effect of liberalization on economy mein, you cannot write 10 generic points कि अरे economy में this happened, this happened, this happened. You have to divide those points also into separate groups. What was the effect on planning? What was the effect on mobilization? What was the effect on growth? What was the effect on employment? What was the effect on development? ठीक है? Then changes in industrial policy and their effects on industrial growth. So now growth is liberally used here. So effects on industrial development and growth, both you can say. Changes in industrial policy. So now this is not LPG again. This is changes in industrial policy. What is industrial policy? What were the changes brought in? What was the earlier policy? After independence, what was the policy? Before LPG, what was the policy in the 70s and 80s? After 90s or after LPG, what was the policy? Then after the e-commerce or technology boom, what was the policy? And now what is the policy? And what should be the policy considering the changes in nature of jobs, changes in nature of industries which are taking place very rapidly, changes in industrial policy. So what they mean by, see, these are only 4 words, changes in industrial policy. But uska pura, the entire history you have to know so that you know ki how should we evolve in the future and their effects on industrial growth. So Earlier, we were following a very closed loop model. We were very inward looking. So, what was the effect on industrial growth? What was the effect of LPG on industrial growth or other changes? That is what they're asking. Then we come to more applied part of economics, more what you say, hard part of economics. By hard, I don't mean difficult. Hard means hard infrastructure versus soft vesa. So hard means something physical. We come to the physical part of economics, which is infrastructure, energy, ports, roads, airports, railways. Now the most important word in this part is etc. This is the most important word in this at this point. Energy, ports, roads, airports, railways, etc. Okay, this etc. Mein, there are two, three things which are asked in UPSC which doesn't fall under any of these, but they fall under infrastructure as a whole. For example, housing infrastructure, housing sector, right? Housing sector is very important. Land sector is very important. Model land leasing policy was approved by the cabinet yesterday. If you have read, so that will come under etc. because it technically doesn't fall under these things, energy, ports, roads, airports, railways, but it falls under infrastructure, right? Housing, affordable housing, then your uh, communications, all your telecom and communications, that is also infrastructure, 5G ke liye, whatever is required, so etc. Okay, and this is from an economic angle. Please don't mistake it with the science and tech angle. This is from an economic angle. And then investment models. The most static part of the syllabus is investment model. This is very static. Hardly two or three current news will be there in the entire year, which are significant enough to be read and to be revised and to be reproduced in the exam. So investment models is very static. It is very simple. Okay. For those of you who are planning to take the foundation batch for the next year, we go through all these syllabus points in depth, every word by word. What does it mean and what to study, how to study. For those who don't have much time, I will tell you some tricks and some shortcuts because you don't have much time. I mean, for those of you who are giving in 2021, you don't have much time because after prelims last year, what they did was after prelims they took mains in a very short span of time, and this year also the gap between prelims and mains was reduced from 107 days to 80, 85 or 84 odd days, right? And now the prelims exam has been postponed for the second time. Last year also it was postponed. This year also it is postponed. So chances are that mains exam would be held almost immediately with the minimum possible time between prelims and mains. If things go proper, if the things improve, the situation improves, right? So do not think after prelims you will get a lot of time. Do not think after prelims you will start studying something. Please do not think like that because revision is as important. No, revision is more important than reading. I'm sure you have read all the syllabus points. I'm sure you have read all the notification important points, correct? So this was economics. Now coming to agriculture. Now see, for agriculture, see, you need to buy heart these points. Indian economy, inclusive growth, government budgeting, land reforms and all. Now government budgeting mein, there are two parts. One is the process of the budget and one is the content of the budget. The process of the budget is mentioned in the constitution. Okay, annual financial statement and all those related articles 112 and 1. That process of the budget is covered in polity. Okay, it is covered in polity. So that is taken care of. But the content of the budget is a part of your GS3, government budgeting. Okay. Then comes agriculture. Now, agriculture is probably one of the easiest subjects for UPSC general studies. I'm not talking about any other forest exam or any other type of specialized exam. But for general studies, for civil service general studies, agriculture is very easy because it is very easy to understand because it is tangible. You can see, you know how crops are grown. Basic understanding. You know key seeds are important. You know overuse of pesticides is bad. You know transport issues hai. You know marketing issues are there. You can see it. But economics is something intangible. You don't know. You don't see RBI reducing rates having a very tangible impact. You don't see money flowing in front of your eyes in the economy. That is what makes economy a little bit difficult, but not much difficult, right? Now, major cropping patterns in various parts of the country. Now, this is the fourth point. So, 4, 5, 6 is economics. 4, 5, 6 is agriculture. 4, 5, 6 is agriculture. Okay. Major cropping patterns in various parts of the country. So, major crops and cropping patterns. So, major crops means ki what grows where and cropping patterns. Okay. different types of irrigation systems. This is very static. This is very 8th standard type. Oh, micro irrigation and drip irrigation and all. This is that. This is very 8th standard, 10th standard NCRT content. So, okay, after you decide to grow crops, you decide to go for irrigation. You decide, then after crops are grown, you store it. Okay, then you transport it, then you market it. But what is UPSC asking in the notification? It has said ki it will ask questions on conflicting socio-economic issues. But what is the conflict in this? So issues and related constraints. Issues word is very important. Issues and related constraints. Okay. Issues and related constraints. So issues relating to crops, issues relating to let's say for example in eastern Maharashtra sugarcane is grown a lot. So what is the issue? Water is the issue. It is not water efficient at all, but still it is grown because it is remunerative. So it is an issue of both, of irrigation, of cropping pattern, as well as of your policies, agriculture policies. Okay. Then what are the issues in storage, transport, and again very helpful tip which I will give you is uh, the last part of the syllabus is last part of a syllabus point is often very important and very ignored part. Last part. I will give you various examples also. For example, e-technology in the aid of farmers. This is the last part of that point. This is the last part. This is very ignored by students, and questions come from this e-technology. Again, I'll give you another example. See this last part. Animal rearing. In entire fifth part, they did not talk about animal rearing, but last May they introduced a very big topic which is as big as agriculture nowadays, animal rearing, in one small point at the end. So please focus on these last parts, economics of animal rearing. This is as big as the entire agriculture, right? Again, see the sixth point. What is the last part? Supply chain management. This last is very important, and this is not restricted only to economics. I'll give you an example in science and tech also. Okay, see this science and tech may see this. Now you know how important this is. You know, you have read WTO, you know TRIPS, you know current pharma issues, you know vaccine may people were pharma companies were not reluctant to give IPR, you know entire WTO debate on that, UN debate on that. But see, it is given in the end. Issues relating to intellectual property rights. Okay. Then one more example I'll give. See how important this is. The last part, money laundering and its prevention. At the end, they have given so important topics, and you can see it across GS2 also and across GS3 also. Don't ignore these last points. So whenever you read or do anything, I mean, prepare these separately nicely because they might not be related to the earlier aspects of the syllabus point. Okay. Coming back, so once you have grown, once you know that there are storage issues, transport issues, market. So this is from a farmer angle. This fourth point is from a farmer angle, farming angle. Fifth point is from a government angle. What can government do to help them? What can government do to make it better? That is farm subsidies, MSP, PDS. What are the objectives, functions, limitations, revamping, issues of buffer stock and food security? Technology mission. So this is all interventions by government. These are all interventions by the government. And last May, economics of animal rearing. Something entirely different, but you have to know about. Okay. Then chalo, after you got help from the government, after you grow your crops, after you get help from the government, what do? You sell it to producers, you sell it to processors, food processors. So what will they do is food processing and related industries, their scope, their significance, their location. So if you see this, this directly relates to your GS1 industry wala point in geography. Okay. In geography, we have industry wala point, right? I will show you. Factors responsible for primary, secondary, tertiary industries in various parts of the world, including India, right? So location is important. Upstream, downstream is also important in industries also. Similar point is given in here, given in GS3, but it is in GS3 because it is food processing. It can very well be in GS1 also, right? Food processing and related industries in India. What is the scope, significance, location? Where are they located exactly? Why are they located there exactly? Whether they're located on coastal areas or on inward areas or on near to cities or near to markets or near to source of raw materials, near to mines. you know the reasons. Knowing the location is not important, like is not the only important thing. You have to know the reasons for it. Upstream downstream requirements. Upstream downstream requirements is key. What inputs does it require and what outputs does it give, or what outputs, what facilities it requires for better outputs. For example, your marketing is a downstream requirement, your packaging is a downstream requirement, your storage is a downstream requirement, right? But good quality raw material, good quality electricity, good quality water supply, good quality labor, that is your input, or that is your upstream requirement. Okay? And this entire upstream to downstream, right from your growth of crops to the final consumption of the product of food product. Let's say if you take an example of papad or pickle. So right from growth of dal in case of papad, or mango in case of mango pickle, to the final purchased by the consumer of that papad or pickle. Entire thing comes in supply chain management. How do you streamline this? And this has gained so much of relevance in pandemic times because supply chains are constrained because of geopolitics as well as pandemic and lockdowns, right? So this syllabus point has gained immense importance. So please prepare this very well. So these are 4, 5, 6. Point number 4, 5, 6. You should by heart these point numbers. Point number 3, government budgeting. If I tell you, even when you are sleeping, if I wake you up and if I tell you what is point number 7, you should say land reforms in India. GS 3.7, land reforms in India. Okay? You have to remember it that way. Land reforms in India is a hybrid of both points, both agriculture and economics. Land reforms involves everything. Agriculture part is also there, economics part is also there. So it is in the middle. Okay, if you once you divide your syllabus in this part in this manner, you get a clear idea what you have to cover. And trust me, I can prove that questions 99% of the questions come from these points only. There is no question which is outside these points. There is no question except one or two. Except one or two. There is no question in the past, like 7, 8 years from 2013 to 2020. No question which has come out of these points. This is a very good thing for us because in science and tech it is so unpredictable. Science and tech is so huge, but economics there are four walls within which question comes and you can easily prepare. Okay, first step is done. Chalo, first step is done. We know the syllabus now, sir. Sir, now tell uh, what are the sources and how do you analyze the questions. Okay, so many people you must have said, yeah, many you must have seen videos also of topper videos, and so many people they say ki do past year paper analysis and they leave it at that. Do past year paper analysis and they leave it at that. Okay, so what do you mean by past year paper analysis? That is also very important, correct? So past year paper analysis may I'll just give you an example of past year paper analysis. We do this in depth for the foundation batch because we have time, but we cannot do it now or we cannot do it in this point of time. So I want you to do it very quickly. I will just show you one simple sample how you have to do it. Before that, you have to ask one simple question to every question which is asked in the paper. Which syllabus point are you from? Okay, which syllabus point are you from? That is what you have to ask the question. Okay, from where have you come? And for that you need to know the syllabus by heart. Unless you know the syllabus by heart, kaise, how would you know? Okay, then coming to the questions. Just a minute. So coming to the questions, uh, right? See this. See the first question. This is 2020 paper, latest paper. See the first question. Explain intragenerational and intergenerational issues of equity. Okay, inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Do you know the syllabus point? Point number 2, issues of inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Okay, inclusive growth means what? Every section of the society should have equal chance to be the best version of themselves. Every section of the society should have equitable, not equal, equitable opportunities of growth, right? Every person or every section of the society should have access to basic rights, basic uh, elements of the society for a proper comfortable survival. So these are all meaning associated with inclusive growth. Now they have said So okay, once you read the question, you come to know कि okay, this is what is asked, and you start writing the answer. But before that, try to analyze what is asked in the question, right? I'm going to tell you one technique which is known as the locus focus technique. This is very important technique when analyzing question papers, when analyzing the past year papers. Yes, I am going to analyze 2 3 questions, so don't worry about that. I'm not going to give you the content because this is not the part of this session, and content is not important because question, this is today's question, tomorrow the question would be different, but the process is very important. um, right? So what is the locus focus technique? Chalo, imagine there is a 6 lane highway. Imagine there is a 6 lane highway and there is toll booth in every lane. You have seen a big toll booth, right? I hope you have seen highway pe there's a big toll booth, and there are a lot of windows or lot of toll passageways, right? You can go in any lane, lot of lanes, and toll is being collected across every lane. So there are 6 lanes. There is one lane which says, which has your name on it. There is one lane which has your name on it, and you have to go in that lane only. But you go in the lane उसके besides का, you go in the lane उसके बाजू वाला or just besides that lane. You reached your destination, but you did not reach it accurately. That is what happens with 99% of the people who are writing answers. They reach the destination, but they don't reach it with accuracy. They write very succinct, they write very meaningful answers, but sometimes relevance is lost. Sometimes relevance is lost. Answers are relevant, answers are meaningful also, but one point they have written 3 times, like we do in school. We do in school. One point write 3 times in different words. Does not work here. When you read the question paper, the very first point you have to read is very first point. I'm giving a demo now. What we do normally is, or what I do normally is, so you have to do it for all the questions on similar lines. So please pay attention to what I'm doing now. Okay. See, I can easily tell you do this, do that. These are the sources. Please read from this. But how to read, what to read, that is more important, right? So I'm just taking you through the process, right? Chalo. First question. Whenever you are doing question paper analysis, first question, or whenever you are in the exam, what you have to do when you are in the exam, question paper comes in front of you, you open the question paper. What you have to do? Very first thing, you have to know how many marks, how many words. UPSC can change that. They changed it in 2017. This 10-15 pattern has come in 2017. Before that, it was 12.5 marks, and then they changed it from 12.5 into 20 to 10 into 10 plus 15 into 10. Okay? So first thing you have to do is 10 marks, 150 words. Okay. Now 10 marks, 150 words. Before going into the question, you have to know how many words can you write in one page. How many words can you write in one page or one side? Okay, one side. Now, if you take a blank page and if you write anything, just fill the page. You will come to know how many words you write. But I will tell you you are wrong, because UPSC paper has 4 borders. On all 4 sides, UPSC paper has borders. So your number of words drastically reduce per side. Okay, per side they reduce. On an average, as per my experience is, on an average, many people write around 90 to 95 words on one side without leaving any paragraph gap, without leaving any separate headings gap. I'm saying if you write it continuously as one big paragraph, you will be able to write 90-95 words depending on your handwriting side. Okay? Chalo. Now, if you leave 90-95 words on one side and you have to write within 150 words, so you can say कि before the second half ka half, before the next side ka half, you have to finish your answer. Are you getting it? You have to write your answer in 1.5 side. Mentally, you are making a plan before even reading the question. You saw 10 words, 150, 10 marks, 150 words. The moment you saw 150 words, mentally you made a plan. You have to finish your answer, visualize it. You have to finish your answer before the half side of the second page or second side ka half ke pehle you have to finish it. Okay? Mentally you have prepared it. Okay. Now you know that introduction takes some words, conclusion takes a few words. So let's say you decide, I'm just giving an hypothetical example. Let's say you decide कि 130 or 120 words would be enough. So out of 130 words, on an average introduction, if it is a 10 marker, you have to write a very short, very short introduction. So let's say 10-15 words, 10-15 words gone there, 10-15 words gone in the conclusion. right? Uh, can you please write what you are writing, sir? What you are talking. Okay, okay. I will do that. I will do that. Just hear me out once. Then we'll recap this again. So one first step you did was visualize. Visualize ki, where you have to end the answer. Many times, I'm sure 80% of you would have suffered from the problem of not completing the paper or writing the first few questions very well, word by word, everything, and then the last questions, ekdam, just average. That is because we gave a lot of importance to the first questions, and then time is our enemy in this exam. Huh? So first step is you visualize, and this don't do it for the first time in the exam. Do it now, so that in the exam this process becomes automated. This is very automated process. Okay, 150 words you have to end within the second half ka second side. You have to allocate, let's say, 15 words for the introduction because it's a 10 marker, 15 words for the conclusion. So 30 words gone. Out of 130 words, let's say you plan to wrap it up at 130 words, 30 words are gone, 10 words remain. Sorry, 100 words remain. So which means that you get one side or little over one side to write your answer. Matlab the net remainder of it, right? Then you go to analyzing the question. Ki how many parts are there in the question? How many parts are there in the question? If a question has a lot of parts, then you get very few words for each part. Chalo, now coming to question. Now I will tell you how to write the question, how to read the question. You have to divide the question in as many parts as possible and address all the parts as possible, right? When you go to a restaurant and you give your order and you say, I don't want it too salty, but I want it, uh, let's say you order a soup and you say, please put less salt, please put more chili because I like spicy soup, please bring it piping hot, and please put more carrots. Okay, so you gave 3 4 instructions. So if three out of that one or two are not followed, you will say, what soup have you made? Writing an answer is like a recipe, is like a properly curated dish. It has to have every element which is asked for and no element which is not asked for. Okay? Okay. Explain intra-generational. I hope you know the meaning of this intra-generational, within one generation, and intergenerational, across generations. So these are the two keywords. Okay? Intra-generational and intergenerational. So you have to first, so you have to underline, you have to get in the habit of underlining the keywords so that you can divide the question into parts. Intragenerational one part, intergenerational second part. Issues is of course issues. They ask issues because in syllabus point also, if you remember, inclusive growth and issues arising from it. So issue of equity from the perspective of inclusive growth and sustainable development, which means intragenerational issues of equity. Just follow me. Intragenerational issues of equity from perspective of inclusive growth, first part. Intergenerational issues of equity from perspective of inclusive growth, second part. Intragenerational issues of equity from perspective of sustainable development, third part. Intergenerational issues of equity from perspective of sustainable development, fourth part. This answer is not one whole answer, but it is separately 4 answers altogether. Now, does that mean that every question you have to dissect it in this manner? No, not necessary. It depends on the substance of the question, right? Some questions might seem that it has a lot of parts, but they will have one common theme behind it. So you can reduce the parts also. Some questions require you to divide it. It depends on question to question, and that you will understand only by doing this with all the questions. I want you to do this exercise for all the questions from 2013 to 2020. Okay? You analyze this question and you read the intra-generational issues of equity from perspective of inclusive growth and intergenerational issues of equity from perspective of inclusive growth and sustainable development. Okay? Now this is a 10 mark. This is the 10 marker, which means you have to straight hit the bullseye. In 15 marker, you can explain some things or you can define some things. But in 10 markers, you have to straight get to the point. Ekdam straight get to the point. In 3 Idiots, the professor says, "Kehna kya chahte ho?" That you have to say in the first, right from the start. So, in 10 marks, see, had this been a 15 marker, I would say, please define sustainable development also. But in 10 marker, you have very less scope for defining sustainable development. You can define inclusive growth because that is more important than sustainable development, considering the context of the question. I hope you are getting this. Okay, I'm taking your analysis to a very different level altogether now. From the perspective of inclusive growth, and see why I'm telling you, because you don't have many words. We know that we have only 100 words, and we have, let's say, 3 to 4 parts of the question. Okay, so every part should get 30 words max. Every part should get 30 words. We have to explain the issues in 30 words. Okay, one line takes 10 words, so you have to explain 3 issues, max 3 issues in every part. Correct? So you visualize on the front page कि I will end the first part here, I will end the second part here, I will end the third part here, and piche I will write, backside I will write the conclusion. This is what is visualizing, and you are doing this beforehand. While reading the question, you are doing this. So when you start writing the answer, you know where to stop, what to stop, when to start the next part, and when to conclude. Done, finished. Okay, this is mechanization of answer writing, and you have to do it because if let's say if you focus more on inclusive growth but nothing on sustainable development, you wrote only 2 parts on sustainable development, but 7 points on inclusive growth. What is the use? They are asking you do both. Okay, you focused on intergenerational issues. That is very easy. You didn't focus on intra-generational issues, or very less focus. What is the use? Okay, that means you have arrived at the destination. There is no point, there is no problem in your answer. There is not wrong, but you have not arrived in the correct lane, which means the locus of the question was these 4 parts, but the focus of your answer is 2 parts only and not the other 2 parts. So the locus and focus are not matching. And that is when you get 5 marks out of 10 instead of 7, instead of 8. That is when you get 4 5 marks instead of 7 8. There is nothing wrong in your answer. I am sure those of you who, everyone who gives mains is very well read, and writing practice decently is done, many of them, but still this is the difference. So when he is reading, when the examiner is reading, if he doesn't find any point of sustainable development, or 1 or 2 last may points written hurriedly, he also knows you have written that in a hurried manner, because he is checking so many copies since so many years. So he knows what you have written nicely and what you have written ekdam, just faking it. So he will give lessons, right? This is how you analyze a question. Divide it into parts, allocate word limit, budget your word limit, and then start writing. And this you have to do. Now comes the scary part. Now comes a very scary part. This you have to do. So for a 10 marker, you get 6-7 minutes. For a 10 marker, you get 6-7. If you divide the total marks by the 3 hours and then you allocate it, you have to do this in 6-7 minutes. 1.5 minute goes in answer, question reading and analyzing and everything. And rest 5 minutes, 6 minutes, you will have to write the answer. Okay. So now imagine if you don't do all this budgeting and allocation, if you don't have the habit of doing this, if you just start writing, when you just start writing without thinking, you think while writing the answer. And that is when your speed slows, your average speed slows down. If you think beforehand and then write mechanically, okay, remember, if you have prepared a issue very well, and if the same question comes without thinking, you start writing yes or no because you know it very well. Similarly, you have to do this. You have to think beforehand, not while writing. While writing, there is very less scope for thinking, unless something very difficult is asked, unless they have asked something which you have not prepared or which you don't know. Then of course you have to think and you have to fill the space and you have to do that. That is absolutely okay. But out of 20, 15 to 16 questions should be such that you have a very high degree of mechanization in answer writing. It might not be of high quality. See, I'm not telling you write high quality answers. In total 40 minutes of my speaking, I've never told you to write very high quality answers. Write relevant, meaningful, succinct, but follow these parameters, right, within the parameters set by UPSC. I I personally follow lesser word limit. If it is 150, I finish it in 130. If it is 200, I go for 170. If it is 250, I go for 220 or 210. Because I am a little bit a slow writer. I'm not a fast writer, little bit. So to complete, I have to do this. So whatever is your strength, please play on your strengths. Okay, this is how you analyze one question. Now the very important part is take a blank sheet, take a blank page. Just a minute. I'll just. हाँ ठीक है. Take a blank page. Write all your syllabus points here. So let's say this is GS1, this is GS3.1, point 2, point 3, then point 7, point 8, point 9, point 10, then you have your point 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is very important. Now in front of this, these are syllabus points. You don't have to write the entire point because you have by hearted it. I hope you are getting it. You don't have to write the entire point because you have by hearted it. And then uske baaju mein write the question numbers which have appeared from that point, which you think have appeared from that point. For example, this question which we saw, this question which we saw, this was from point number 2, right? Inclusive growth and issues arising from it. So write point number 2, 2020, question 1. Let's say you analyze 2019 paper and you come to know, okay, the third question from 2019 paper, just hypothetically example, has also come from inclusive growth. So right here 2019 question 3, and so on and so forth. Write this for all your syllabus points. Write this for all your syllabus points. Now this one page is the mapping, or is the flow, or is the brain mapping of the entire, all the questions asked in GS3 point number 1 to 10, and you have in front of your eyes in one sheet or two sides, whatever. Okay, you have it in front of your eyes now. So now you will realize maximum questions are asked from point 1. Maximum questions. Okay, there will be a few questions which will be point 1 plus point 8. There will be a few questions which will have an element of point 1 plus point 8. There will be a few questions which will have an element of 0.5 plus 0.6. What is the government doing regarding subsidies as well as regarding food processing? There will be. So write it anywhere and write it in bracket. It is a combination question. Don't write it twice, but write it. It is a combination question. Now you have got one big what we say, one big treasury of questions in front of your eyes, and you will come to know which point more questions are asked, which point lesser questions are asked, right? You will also realize that I'm basing all this on the trends from 2013 to 2020. A word of caution: UPSC might destroy or disrupt everything in 2021 paper. Be prepared for that, and to be prepared to handle such change, you have to mechanize your process of analyzing question, thinking about the word limit, and writing the answer, right? Unless you do that, you will be blown away by the changes which are introduced, and then you will start to panic, and then you will think in panic mode. You will start thinking what is the answer to this question, and then quality, or even quantity, quality, everything goes for a hit, right? Now once you have this sheet, whenever you are preparing, now begins our study part. Okay, and please bear in mind, I'm not taking this as an answer writing session. So there are many tips and tricks for answer writing which different people have different views on. So I'm not going to tell mine, because, or what I normally say in the lectures, is because now you don't have time, and plus the purpose of this is to enable you to start reading, to start revising, and to start studying. Okay, so one doubt has come, sir, is last 5 papers enough? I would say please go for 2013 to 2020, because since the syllabus has changed, we have to go all around, right? It is UPSC. Um, you cannot leave anything to chance. So all syllabus points, all questions from 2013 to 2020 have to be analyzed. Okay, not all questions will deserve a lot of time. There will be, like for example, there was a question on some scheme, let's say. So what is this scheme and what are its features? Very straightforward school type question. Scheme and features, simple, done, gone. So don't analyze that much. But some agriculture question, if they're asking what are the issues faced, that you have to analyze. Right? We'll analyze a few more. Define potential GDP. And explain its determinants. Now this is there in your prelims also. This is a very basic question. This is a very introductory question, you can say. Define potential GDP and explain its determinants. So see, two parts you have come to know now only. Define potential GDP, and explain its determinants, right? Define potential GDP and explain its determinants. These are the two parts in the second question which we are seeing in 2020 paper. Two parts to idhar hi aa gaye. What are the factors that have been inhibiting India from realizing its potential GDP? What are the factors that have been inhibiting India from realizing its potential GDP? So there are three parts now. Define potential GDP. 1. Explain its determinants. 2. What are the factors that have been inhibiting India from realizing its potential GDP? Now, going one level deeper, if you compare question 1 and question 2, question 1 may all four parts had equal weightage. If you think about it, you don't know UPSC is giving what weightage to what part. But if we have to analyze, see, UPSC is giving only question paper and syllabus, and then UPSC is saying apply your own brain. So we are applying our brain and we are saying these are the four parts, but equal weightage, na? Because intergenerational. One is not more important than the other. Inclusive growth, sustainable development. One is not more important than the other. Both are important. Okay. In second question, if you consider first part, second part, and third part, you will realize, please bear in mind, very important part coming up, you will realize that the last part, factors inhibiting India from realizing its potential GDP, has much more importance than the first two parts, because the first two parts are purely memory based. The first two parts are purely school education based. Matlab, they are school like, ki haan, define this, what are the characteristics, what are the determinants. But the second issue part, the issue part comes in the second part. What are the factors that have been inhibiting? Where you require to apply your brain more in the first half of the question or the second half, in the second half. What are the factors inhibiting India from realizing its potential GDP? Second half may you have to apply your more brain. So please allocate more words to second half. If you have 120 words to be allocated, then please at least allocate 70 words to the second half and allocate a lesser number of words to the first half. That is more important. Right? That will give the examiner the impression that yes, you have thought about the factors and you know a lot of factors and you have written them. Okay. See, this is what I was talking about. School type question. Third question. They ask now also school type question they ask. So it is not that they will ask difficult question. The only paper I find very difficult, honestly, the only paper I find very difficult is 2014 GS3 and 2016 GS2. I find those papers personally, I find those papers very difficult. 2014 GS3 and 2016 GS2. If you see 2014 GS3 paper, the questions are paragraph form. There are 5-6 lines in a question. I mean, just reading the question will take away 1.5 minutes of your time. They are in paragraph forms. 4-5 lines ka question they have given in 2014. Right? Anyways, I'm trying not to go much in depth because we don't have time, but I'm trying to show you the track key, do this. Okay? See this, very easy question. What are the main constraints in transport and marketing of agriculture produce? Done, simple, finished. School question. This is exactly school question. School textbook mein jo last mein after the chapter this question was. But there are only thing is ki transport and marketing both are asked. Please write them differently. Please do not merge them. Please don't focus on transport and less on marketing, or more on marketing, less of transport. Please don't do that. It is equal. Now here it is equal because you know one is not important than the other. Okay? Do this for all the questions. Do this for your all 2013 to 2020 papers, and you will realize what UPSC has been asking till date. So if I just want to draw a flowchart, so first step, or the first is word budgeting. You can take a screenshot when I complete this. First is word budgeting. How much you have to allocate, that depends on marks and limit, word limit. Right? This is the first step. Then second step is divide the question into parts and allocate weightage accordingly. right? Divide the question into parts and allocate weightage accordingly. Once you decide, and then accordingly decide when to finish the answer. And please do this for all the questions from GS3 point number 1 to point number 10. If you face any difficulty in analyzing a particular question, if you have any doubt, sir, which part should get more weightage, which part should get less weightage, then please you can feel free to contact me on Telegram or SMS personally, and I will help you with it. For those who are planning to join, or for those whose friends are planning to join next year's batch, your friends, your colleagues, your relatives in the foundation batch, I will do the weightage and the analysis of all the questions in the lectures along with the students, because we have time, so that this part is taken care of beforehand. Okay, agar if you have not done this till yet, if you are starting right now, then please don't worry about it. There is time to do this. This can be done in one day. Today only this can be done. Please do this today. Analyze all the questions from 2013 to 2020. Give weightage to them, and give a proper analysis and make that chart. Okay. Now, fifth point, very important point, pick up keywords from previous year questions. Pick up keywords from previous year questions. Now, what do I mean by that? Just look at this. What do I mean by that is this. What they have asked in the first question: explain intra-generational and intergenerational issues of equity from the perspective of inclusive growth and sustainable development. Okay, very good question. Oh, what is UPSC asking? Next exam in 2021, or next time in any mock test or anything, you write a question on inclusive growth. Whenever they will ask a question on inclusive growth, make sure one of the point is that there are a lot of intergenerational and intragenerational issues of equity due to lack of inclusive growth in India. Make this question as one point in your answer. So if I ask you what are the issues of inclusive growth, you can definitely write it causes intergenerational issue of equity. It causes intragenerational issue of equity. An example, you can give a small example, and done. Your point is done. This is how you take back from UPSC, and you take from UPSC and give them back whatever they have given you. Okay? Potential GDP. Potential GDP. You can start your economics essay, or you can start your economics answer on GDP by saying that India is underachieving its potential GDP. Simple. You have used UPSC's keyword, you have given them back. You have given them back, right? And there are so many keywords appearing across GS1, 2, 3, 4 also, to a lesser extent 4 also, which are appearing, and which are, you can give them back, right? And last time also I had given an example. There was a question on food processing. What are the issues faced by small food processing units? So what you have to take from that question is that there can be big food processing units and small food processing units. So next time when food processing question is asked, you yourself divide the question into small and big, na? Even if they have not asked. That will give a very nice structure to the answer. So food processing units are small and big, right? I'll give you another example. You are reading a lot of newspaper these days. So you know that news is coming. Stock markets are at an all-time high. Nifty and Sensex, they have breached limit. I'm just giving an example. They have breached limits, and RBI governor has also said that this might be a bubble, or it does not reflect the actual characteristics of the economy on the ground, because we are not growing, but stock market is growing. So there is a disconnect. So let's say, hypothetically, example, if the question comes, why is there? It will not come in UPSC, but just to understand the process, why is there a disconnect, or not now, but why generally there is a disconnect between stock market and economy? So you can divide your question into both parts. Economy is doing good, stock market is doing bad. Economy is doing bad, stock market is doing good. I'm just giving an example. So divide it into as much parts as possible. It will help you fill the words also. Okay? If you have only 50 words worth of content for an answer, and if you came to know this is the second part of the question, or you can divide it. See, every time UPSC is not going to divide these questions. You have to find the divisions in the question. You have to find. But at the same time, you should keep a balance. You should not go on unnecessarily dividing the question. Unnecessary, it should not seem artificial, but it should seem wholesome. That is the point I'm trying to make. Okay? So this was the analysis part of it. Now, once you do this and once you do everything, Now the question comes ki flow chart hai, flow chart or what? So I would say ki in 10 marker less flow charts, because you have to, so if a question comes like question 1, then 4 parts you have to answer, then you cannot show a flow chart, right? If it's a 15 marker, if there are only 2 parts asked, and if you don't know one of those parts, then you can definitely include flow charts, circular diagrams, pie diagrams, whatever you want to include. They are a good way of filling space. Do not see, they are a good way of filling space. This is known by the examiner also. Do not act smart and make big diagrams. Please don't do that. Make normal size diagrams and label them. And if it helps in easy understanding, then make sure you do. But in 10 markers, you have a lot to write. In GS3, you have a lot to write in 10 marks. So I would suggest ki avoid the use, unless they are asking specifically which is fitting in the flow diagram. That depends on question to question. I cannot generalize such things now. Okay, this was done. Previous year mapping and analysis we have done. Deciding word length, imagining, everything is done. Now I will tell you syllabus wise source list. Right? कहाँ गया? हाँ. I'm just typing. Right? So this is these are the major sources which I have given minimum sources because not a lot of time is there and you have to revise everything. Come on, I mean, itna bhi it's very difficult to revise. You know, newspaper is the most important part of preparation. Newspaper is any one newspaper. No need of Economic Times, no need of economics newspapers, business newspapers. Any one general newspaper is fine. The Hindu, Indian Express, uh, ठीक है. Oh sorry, I wrote ये गलती से क्या. Wow. Sometimes I feel I am technologically impaired. Yeah. ठीक है. One more thing I would like to add: your prelims preparation. Your prelim preparation plus newspaper would help you in mains preparation, right? uh, Economic survey is very important. Indian Economic Development Standard 11 is a very important NCRT. Second part, wherever I've written Google search, please bear in mind that you need to have 1.5 to 2 pages of notes for every syllabus point, and that is most important part. See, I cannot express the importance of these notes because these are your own notes, your personalized notes. It has elements of current, it has elements of static, basic definitions also, and that is what you will be revising it. If I tell you do this from the book, you will not be able to revise it from the book, and book is static, book is old, book published in 2020 January is not relevant now. Economics is a very dynamic subject. Economics is very dynamic, right? Economic survey, Indian Economic Development Standard 11. Your own notes from Google is very important for your this thing, inclusive growth. But please don't make bulky notes. 50 pages ka notes if you make on inclusive growth doesn't make sense. How much you will revise? 2 to 3 pages is okay. 2 to 3 pages means 5 sides, 4 5 sides. Huh? One page is 2 sides. So 2 3 sheets, you can say 2 3 sheets front back. You can definitely make. India budget document plus Yojana magazine. Agriculture is very easy. It is more or less covered from newspaper. So what are the issues with APMC? What are the issues with the new farm laws? These are all covered from current. Okay. And chalo, up to make matters easy, plus current affairs compilation of Santosh sir or any whatever you are reading since starting, but you can if you are reading Santosh sir's compilations, then current affairs, and that is covered in your prelims preparation itself, so no need to mention it separately. So this is what you require for economics and agriculture. Agriculture mein do not go for bulky books, please do not go for bulky books, do not go for Uma Kapila and all those for economics. Not required. See the type of questions they are asking. They are asking questions on inclusive growth, on intergenerational parity. These answers you are not going to find in static economic books. Intergenerational parity, GST compensation, cess issue, these are not going to be found in static economic books. Please do not read those bulky books. Instead, make your preparation smart, be smart, newspaper, read newspaper, try to form, not, I would not say opinions, but try to form linkages between your syllabus and the newspaper. And this can only be done when you know ki this was asked in 2015, this was asked in 2017, this was asked in 2018. When you have by hearted the questions, right? Even if you don't know the year, but you should know ki this question was asked. You should know ki this question was asked like this. The content of the question, the content of the question is important. The manner of the question is also important. The manner in which they are asking. Look at the way how schemes are asked. Are they asking features? Are they asking what are the advantages? Are they asking ki what can go wrong, or what are the drawbacks? Or are they asking ki more is required? Just look at what they are asking in schemes. For example, in 2000, let's say 2017, there was a question ki GST. Do you think GST can ensure a one nation one market? Okay, so they are not asking GST feature that you will write one nation one market. They are thinking, do you think it will ensure one nation one market? Which means indirectly they are asking you both strengths and weaknesses of GST indirectly. And then finally your own opinion. Okay, I'm trying hard not to go into answer writing aspect of it, because this is just supposed to be an orientation session to give you the क्या बोलते हैं, to give you the direction. So now coming to the practicality aspect of it, if you have any doubts, please start writing now. Please start writing now if you have any doubts, so that I will start answering them. Okay. So more or less we have covered everything. Uh, whatever I wanted to tell you. Now see how much time you have. Today is 3rd June, July, August, uh, September, October. October is 10th October, correct? 10th October is your prelims exam. Now, depending, now every one of you would be in different stages of prelims preparation, and I don't know that, right? Depending on how confident you are in your prelims preparation, you can allocate that much time before 10th October to prelims. If you are very confident, you can stretch your mains till even September, 1st September, then you can do mains, and then September 1 month, and October 5 days you can give. If you are very confident on your prelims, see, it is very subjective. So don't don't quote me. Ki I am saying ki first September bola hai, so I'll do mains. Don't do that, please. I have not said that. This is on record. This is being recorded. I am not saying that. Okay. So depending on your preparation, what I would suggest generally what I would suggest is June, July, 2 months. So you have to give to mains. Pura 2 months you can give to mains. If you have read prelims अच्छे से decently, not एकदम, not very nicely, but if you have done it decently, if you have covered various aspects of it, see, because your newspaper current and your current compilation, newspaper plus your current compilation will go hand in hand. That is, so you have to continue for prelims also, you have to continue for mains also. And don't think UPSC will not ask current affairs based on August current affairs or September current affairs. UPSC will ask, because exam is in October. Okay, and those of you who are appearing next year, don't think UPSC will ask only after October in your next year paper. UPSC will ask from June or even before June also. There is no hard and fast rule. Whatever is being said by UPSC, that is engraved in rocks. That is patthar ki lakir. Other than that is just air. Okay, other than that is just air, just rumors, just viewpoints. UPSC will ask 1 year current affairs. UPSC will ask this. UPSC has never said that. Please bear in mind, UPSC has never said that. It is we who rationalize our preparation given our basic human capabilities. We cannot remember 2 years, 3 years worth of current affairs. Okay? And it is seen that most of the questions are from 1 year. So focus on 1 year. That is how we rationalize our preparation. Okay? So whatever I am saying, this is my rationalization on some smart studies and practical approach to this exam. Okay? There is a possibility they might ask a very off syllabus question. Nobody knows. That is why it is known for being unpredictable. Na? Because UPSC is not telling you anything. They have just told you write relevant, succinct, meaningful answers. We will ask you conflicting socio-economic questions. You have to write relevant, succinct, meaningful answers, and you don't have to only give memory and factual answers, but both. You need both. Like I told you, na, answer is like a recipe. So if in a recipe, if in a meal, there is too much of salt, too much of sugar, both are bad. So too many facts, too many memory based, very bad. Or too many figures, data, very bad in economics. But no data, no fact, no salt, no sugar in the food, then kaise chalega? How will it work? It has to have everything. It has to be right spicy, right amount of sweetness, right amount of tanginess, nimbu, salt, everything should be there. Then it makes for a very good answer. Okay. So I'll just go through the comments if I have missed anything. Which books to refer? I have told you. For Indian Economic Service, I told you this is the approach which is very useful, but definitely not enough for Indian Economic Service because that is a specialized exam. And then I have made this 5 years not useful. You have to do it from 2013. Best economics teacher, thank you very much. Sir, how to make notes and compile notes from different sources without making them bulky? Very good doubt Varsha has asked. How to make notes without being bulky? See, how much are they asking in your paper? What are they asking? 10 marks, 150 words, 200 words, 250 words. Okay? Not going beyond 200, 250 words, right? So your note should not be more than that. Your note should be very crisp. So for that, what I do personally is I challenge myself. So whenever I have notes of 1 month, let's say I have compiled notes of current affairs and everything, Google search and everything I have compiled, and I have done it 1 month. Okay? At the end of 1 month, when I'm revising it, my notes are my notes, not the ready-made compilations. when I'm revising my notes, I challenge myself to cut those notes by 25%, which means to reduce 1/4 of the notes. So I will cut some sentences in some notes. I will cut some facts because they might become redundant. Huh? What now? The pace at which things are happening, whatever happened in last November 2020 in economics is now redundant, is now moot. Various aspects of economic survey are now irrelevant now. Economic survey studying has become so easy now because lot of things they have assumed ki second wave will happen at a very small stage, but that did not materialize in the way they thought. So economic survey ka lot of things are now not this thing effective for our study. So that makes it easier for us. So every time you revise your notes, cut short your notes by some part. Every time you revise your notes, remove the sentences. Why? Because every time you revise your notes, more and more is retained, and less should be there on the paper. That is how you should you know start cutting short. You don't need to have 4 pages on one issue. I mean, come on, farm laws. Let's say farm laws. Farm laws, say one question might be asked, and that to 200 words. How can you expect to write 4 pages worth of material in one short 200 word answer, 250 words answer? It is not possible. Okay, so farm laws पे 1 page, 1.5 page, more than enough, right? And we know कि if we fall short of words, then we can draw diagrams. If we fall short of words, then we can break the question into more parts and write more points. That is still much more useful than having a lot of notes, then not revising it, and then not knowing it at all. The more bulky your notes are, the more the lesser inclined you will be for revision. If I tell you inclusive growth, you have to revise only 2 pages, let's say. You will revise it every day. If I tell you inclusive growth 25 pages, you have to revise it. You will not. Okay? Much is not required. And this economic survey, which I've written only in point one, see, I've written economic survey only in point one, but it will help you in point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It will help you in every point. Economic survey has data on infrastructure investment also. Economic survey part 2 में, see, please bear in mind, economic survey part 2 में agriculture, infrastructure, these two are the most important chapters. Agriculture, infrastructure are the most important chapters. You have to know what issues agriculture is facing. Read agriculture chapter from past one. This, see, I'll just give you a pro tip. This is a pro tip, not for everyone. For those for pros, pro tip. Agri chapter and infra chapter. Okay, from past 3, like current plus past 3 eco surveys. Just these chapters, just these 2 chapters. These are in part 2 of the economic survey, and these are in part 2, agri and infra. Just do this. Okay, just do this. I'll suggest one very interesting thing. Pick up agriculture, and read 3 chapters on agriculture, which is what your economic survey this year, last year, and last to last year. 3 surveys. Okay, just read this and then message me on Telegram whether your understanding of agriculture has improved manifolds or not. The way they present the issues, it is so nice. And ignore the stats, ignore the statistics. Chalo, I'll give you this also. Ignore the statistics. Just read the text, whatever they have given. Just read the text, whatever they have given. Don't go for summary. For the exercise which I am proposing, don't read summary. Go to economic survey ka website. I think it is hosted on India Budget only, the website. And उसपे just download economic survey, only part 2 agriculture chapter, only that chapter, part 2 agriculture chapter. Okay, and just read these 3 chapters today only. Do this today, and by tonight, just message me on Telegram whether your agriculture syllabus point understanding has improved manifolds or not. And do this for infra chapter also. Abhi infra mein also na, infra mein the chapter is divided into. I'm trying so hard not to get into the content teaching part of it, but I can't help. This infra chapter is divided into industry plus infra. Okay. So ignore industry wala part, not that important. वो statistics है कि steel grew at this rate, coal grew at this, not important. Infra part is more important. So this chapter in economic survey is divided into 2 parts, industry and infra. So this part is more important. This entire chapter is more important. And the beautiful part of economic survey is that economic survey has a summary at beginning of every chapter and a summary or recap at end. So this summary at beginning and summary at end is a very nice. Though this year's survey, the quality is not that good. This year's survey, the quality is not so good of the summary and this thing. But past years, because it was made in hasty manner, na Corona and also many things. You can do this exercise. Very important exercise. Your agree point 4, point 5, point 6, you will come to know a lot of things. I'm not saying it is enough, but I'm saying ki just notice the difference in your understanding of agree today, now at this point, and after reading these chapters. Trust me, and then be sure to message me how you feel. Okay? Would you suggest any books to improve our thought process for economics essay? Ravi Shankar is asking any books. I would replace that books with editorials. I would suggest for economics essay, if you want to write an economics essay, do read editorials, economic editorials. For those editorials who talk about economic growth, how should India provide fiscal stimulus or agriculture issues, or for that matter. So editorials are the basis for your essay. You have to pick up sentences from editorials, put them in your notes. Very few, very few, not much. From one editorial, one sentence is enough. One very nice, fancy sentence, and then when you revise, you have to repeat the same in your essay, and you have to get good marks. Sir, last thing, though we have to write an exam notes offline or online, though editing is easy for online. Uh, Anything will do, offline, online, anything will do. I would suggest, I would personally, whatever is good, you can do. If you're starting out now, my personal preference is online because editing is easy and copy paste is easy. And that time which you have saved in writing the notes can be used to write answers, write actual answers. But now here there are two caveats. Yes or no? There are two caveats here. Okay. One, you have to use that time in writing answers. You don't have to just keep on compiling notes. And second, online notes tend to be more bulky because in writing you become tired and you draw shortcuts and you just end it. Online you will find 10 websites for the same topic. You will find this good, that good, and you'll compile everything. And instead of 2 pages, you will end up having 20 pages. So please don't fall in that trap. That is a big trap. Your total economics notes, your handmade notes, if any, your handmade notes, if any, for total point number 1 to 10 should never exceed 20 to 30 pages total for all points. Notes are handmade notes because you also have to revise your compilation. You also have to revise your this thing survey. You also have to revise your budget document, budget magazine. So plus your 30 pages, 20-30 pages. Now imagine if I tell you these 20-30 pages are enough, and plus these things which you have already read before GS3 paper, like before the exam starts, or 5 days before examination start, you will be so confident, and that confidence will give you more marks. See, toppers don't know a lot of things. Please, this is not a test of your comprehensive knowledge. This is a test of your relevant knowledge. That is a very important, very important difference between comprehensive knowledge and relevant knowledge. In your knowledge, in your notes also, your notes should be relevant, meaningful, succinct. Then only you will be able to write meaningful, relevant, and succinct answers. Otherwise, kaisa chalega? Your notes are bulky, not relevant, but not, little bit meaningful, and then you will write these answers. No, it doesn't work. Second, how much to do answer writing practice? Please write daily. Please write damp answers, daily answer writing practice, and please write as many answers as possible. But for economics, I would suggest you read through these things first and then write. Basic you might be knowing, so basic questions you can attempt, but read through these things as fast as possible. Today is June end ke pehle just finish it off. It is not that much. Survey might take time, but other things are not that much. Budget, please read it very nicely. Okay. Budget में gold exchange is very important, so read about gold exchange, and उसके ऊपर articles तो the Hindu has articles, Express has articles. Do that, right? And read it from an understanding point of view rather than a rote learning point of view. Because in exam, resource mobilization, the question will come on resource mobilization, and you will not think about gold exchange in exam. Right? Gold exchange is a means of resource mobilization. Yes or no? And that can only happen when you connect the syllabus to what you are reading, and for that you need to buy hard the syllabus. There is no running away from that. ठीक है. Do we have a modular course for 2022? Modular for prelims? Yes, you will have a prelims modular course which will happen 2-3 months before prelims. So this time we had it in Feb March for June prelims. So similarly, you will have economics prelims course for prelims, but for prelims. Mains modular course is a little bit difficult because just imagine this one introductory lecture has taken so much of time, and if your mains is 3 months down the line, nobody will even try to do this. For prelims, it is okay because we revise a lot of things in prelims, right? So if you have any doubts, you can ask now. Otherwise, I think from my side, I have told you everything which I needed. But please focus on mains. You will not find time after prelims. Trust me. You don't have to sit and Google search after prelims. See, abhi search karke, just search it, read it once or twice, revise it once or twice, and keep it. For example, infrastructure chapter, infrastructure syllabus point. Read it, revise it once, your notes and all, Google search it, and keep it away. After prelims, start from there only. Don't do fresh Google search and freshly make notes and all. Nahi hoga. Don't do that. Use your old notes. They are the best. And like every topper says, and everyone says, it is better to read one book and revise 100 times rather than to read 100 books and revise one time. That is true for every subject. Right? So if you have any doubt, let me know. Did you find it useful? At least let me know that in the comments. Please be active. Do kuch hua this 1.5 hour? Any use? कुछ फर्क पड़ा इससे? Agri chapter, infra chapter, industry infra chapter, past 3 economic surveys. This is a hack, huh? Actually. This is not required, but just look at it and just look at the way your understanding improves after reading the selected chapters. Only 2 chapters you have to read, right? So we will stop here. For please spread the word for those who need help in economics and for those who don't want to waste, like someone said, wasting lakhs of rupees and all, because I've also gone through the same process. So I personally follow a no nonsense approach because I don't believe in showing false dreams. Jo hai wo hai, that is there. Simple. So for if you have any friend or any junior who is starting preparation and who is in a dilemma, then please refer this, because I'm not doing it only for promotion's sake, but genuinely I feel ki students should not waste a lot of time and money and effort behind behind irrelevant things, right? So foundation batch mein I am teaching ekdam start to end in detail. Next year prelims program I will be having definitely uh, for economics, like we did this year also. Okay. For those who are starting out next year, now you don't have to read anything. Just read one newspaper daily. Just read one newspaper and basic polity NCRTs and history NCRTs you can start reading, and geography. Economics, I don't recommend you to start reading now. For those who are giving next year 2022, please don't do anything for economics. Please don't pre-read anything. Please don't burden your mind. Please don't take stress, and please don't be scared away. We will do economics together. We will revise it together. Don't worry. Okay. Uh, uh, Kindly arrange a session for this mains answer writing part. Sir, does this framework apply to every GS paper because I face difficulties? Yes, yes. That I think this doubt I missed. Sorry. Uh, Initial framework for ethics case studies answers. You have any suggestions? So for ethics, I'm the wrong person to answer because I get very less marks in ethics, to be very honest. So I cannot answer on ethics part. But this framework applies definitely to 2 and 3, GS 2 and 3, because they are so dynamic, so current based. One mostly static, है ना? One may need not apply all these aspects, but the basics still remain the same. The word limit, the word budgeting, that is applicable to everywhere, because you have fixed space, you have fixed words, you have fixed marks. So why not apply this aspect? But the process of analyzing questions is different for GS 1 and 4 and different for 2, 3 taken together. So this applies to 2 also, more or less, but basics remain the same, right? So we'll stop here. Please spread the word about this session. for those who require help, because there is a lot of misdirection. I know I have been misdirected so many number of times. That is, I have a lot of experience in this. So what not to do is more important than what to do. Okay, so do this and keep on revising and let me know uh, if you have any doubt, and anytime I am accessible. Okay, so thank you so much.